Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I will be guiding you on this journey today. I'm going back to like intro videos. So I'll put the timestamp in the description if you want to just, skip that and go right to the reading, or skip this part and go right to the reading. Because I just cannot repeat myself 12 times. And especially if there actually is something that I want to say, like at the beginning of every single video, my body refuses to allow that. So anyway, yeah. Now I'm like, what was I going to say? I have the zodiac sign readings all finished for like what was mastered in 2025, what's unfolding in 2026. So definitely check those out. I was going to do those for the human design readings, but I actually feel complete with those. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to start, with the human design readings. Just keep it pushing, keep it moving forward. I guess it would be kind of ish for January. I don't necessarily do like monthly readings, but whenever you're seeing this, that's when it is for, What else? I do have a special, or like a new offering. It's 333 reading. It's $3.33. It's a 2-card pull. The first card is the door, or like the obstacle, the opportunity, the thing that you are coming up to. And then the other card, the second card, is the key, which is advice, or what's on the other side of that, or what, what's the purpose even maybe of that. It is a written reading. So, I shuffle the cards with your energy in mind. And then I will send you, of course, a picture of the cards, and then I'll send you just a written thing of what comes through for me with each card. So it's definitely a general reading, but you would Venmo me $3.33, and in the Venmo description, you would include your email address. And then my intention is to get the reading back to you within 24 to 48 hours. It's not going to take that long most times. But that just gives me a good buffer if for some random reason it does take me that long. I don't know, but yeah. And of course, if you make if you make that transaction or whatever, private, then nobody else will see your email address. Just me. So hopefully that makes sense. There will be an explanation of that in the description as well. And yeah, I think that's it, right? That's really the only thing that I would really actually want to say in every single reading. I keep having this feeling like I just want to use some cards that have words on them. I mean, of course there's, words on the regular tarot too, right? It's like the name of the card, but I don't know. We're going to use the time oracle cards, I think. If you open your reading and it's not, I don't have this deck in there, it's because it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. And anyway, okay. I think that's it. Let's get into the readings. Great. So this is the reading for the 2-5 human design profile, the Hermit Heretic. If you don't know what your profile is, there is a link in the description for you to get your human design body graph, and your profile will be listed on there. We have the 8 of Wands to start. And what else? Anything? I know I'm probably missing oh, I'm hello. You don't need to know necessarily a ton about human design. Interesting. The Eight of Pentacles. Interesting with the eights. Abundance. Also, even just the movement of energy. That is way too many. One more. Four of Swords. Interesting. Let's get our oracle cards here. Ah! All right. We'll take the two that fell on the table. We have next year, of course, next full moon, which is when? When is that? January 3rd. January 3rd. So that's going to be in Capricorn. Nope. That is going to be in Cancer. Right? Because the sun is going to be in Capricorn, so the moon must be in Cancer. Cancer. Okay. If I would have just trusted myself, you know. So, I mean, that's only a couple days away. Of course, I mean, it would depend on, you know, like when you are watching this video, though. So obviously, if you're watching it after January 3rd, 2026, then it would be the next full moon closest to, obviously, whenever you're watching it. Also kind of hilarious, too, that it says goodbye 2020. That's obviously, you know, like when these cards were created was clearly like around that time. Gosh. Isn't it crazy, though? I feel like I have to sneeze. Ha! That's also kind of funny because like these face masks on this. On this thing. So interesting. I mean, you know, health, rest, you know, just taking care of yourself, drink water, which I need to do as well. So yeah. Okay. There really is this play or like this dance between exerting energy and then resting, which I really almost kind of feel is like very 2-5 like coded anyway, because, you know, the Hermit line, there's this dance between being out there, you know, like being seen, being even projected on, because I like, you know, I mean, second lines get projected on as well. And frankly, there's like a couple 2-4s that I know of that get projected on way harder than I do. And I'm a 5-1. So I'm like, dang, it's you know, it's just kind of crazy to see. But I mean, you have both projection lines, the second line and the fifth line. And I think most people would say that the initial projections on both of those lines are usually pretty positive. But anyway, so the Hermit line is, again, you know, there's this dance between being out there, doing the things, you know, just almost like showing your talent, or not even necessarily, because with the second line, it's hard for second lines to see their own genius, right? That's why we need other people to recognize that in you and draw it out. Which can be uncomfortable too, like if there's some sort of like insecurity in there, right? Like it would feel uncomfortable for people to be like, hey, you're good at that, or you would be good at that, or you should do this, or you should do that. And you're like, I don't see myself like that way or whatever. Or like mind your business, I know some 2-4s that are like that too. Like, yeah, mind your business, again. And I know obviously that's a 2-4, but yeah, like there's this dance between, and I was doing this all over the 2-4 reading too, where I like barely finished a sentence, let alone a thought. So, bear with me, but third time is a charm. Dancing between being out there and then being inside, because you need to be inside, quote unquote, right? Inside. And by that, it's just, separating yourself, having some time for solitude, because it's in those periods of solitude that you recharge, that you can lock in to the things that interest you. And build your confidence too. Because I think like when your battery starts getting low is probably when you start feeling insecure. So, it's having those periods of solitude where, again, you recharge, you build your confidence back up, you have time to focus your energy and your attention on your interests and the thing that you gravitate towards, your unique gifts, right? And even if you see them that way or not, whatever. But also too, like really making sure that your space is a space that gives you energy, that you feel creative in, that you feel confident in. Again, like the few 2-4s that I know, like their spaces are curated to them, and a couple of them are married, a couple of them live with other people, but the ones that are married, like their spouses just pretty much let them have free reign on the vibe of their space, and they don't mind that every couple of years or whatever that they completely change it. Furniture, colors, paint, picture, whatever, right? To fit their energy, right? And the other ones, that live with other people or who have roommates or whatever, it's like their space is curated and positioned to exactly what they want it to be. Because again, like your space needs to fill your cup. It needs to recharge your battery while you're in there. You've got to feel good. So definitely just be sure to do that, to make sure that your space is exactly how you want it, and change it as often as you need. Make sure that it's a space that is giving you energy back, that's filling your battery or recharging your battery. And then, of course, that fifth line people see as the problem solver or like the savior, like, oh, this person's gift could solve this problem or do this thing for me. And that's when your strategy and authority come into play, because your strategy and authority is designed to help you enter into the correct, quote unquote, experiences for you. And also the thing with the fifth line, like you guys are just like going to be pro dancers because that's the examples that I'm going to be using. The fifth line is also, it's recognizing that for one, that you have the solution to a problem, or that you can live up to that projection that they have, that you have an interest in even doing that. Right? So it's considering all of those things through your strategy and authority, but then also recognizing when your part of that thing has come to an end and it's exiting before the projections inevitably come. It's satisfying your role and then being able to recognize when to get out of there, type of thing. And maybe too, like, just what is that? Oh, okay. Sorry. There's like these birds outside, and one of them I'm like, what the hell? What is that? But, oh, okay. It's a northern flicker, which has been like showing up a lot more lately. It's kind of interesting. Like every day it'll stop by. Anyway, so yeah. Okay. How does that relate to this? Well, we have the Eight of Wands here, which is that energy, right? It's going out there. It's communicating. It's right. It's things moving fairly quickly. It's taking inspired action. It's being creative. It's even maybe showing those skills or the thing that you have the interest in, or that you just naturally gravitate towards, or naturally just good at, whatever, right? It's being out there doing that thing. And then we kind of have this bridge happening here with this Eight of Pentacles to the Four of Swords. And this Eight of Pentacles, to me, feels like that solitude we were talking about. This is you developing those skills, building the confidence, locking into whatever you have that interest in. Because the Eight of Pentacles is about mastering. It's recognizing that you have to put time, energy, resources, money, investment, in all forms. Like, you have to invest your time, you have to invest your resources, your money. It's like building muscle memory, but it's like trial and error. But through that trial and error process, like, you're gaining skill. You're gaining that muscle memory. And then we have the Four of Swords over here, which is rest. Literally. This is more of like a mental thing. Like, we have fire over here, which is motivation, taking action, going after things, right? Like, having the desire to do something, like really feeling inspired or passionate about a thing. And there certainly can be other people involved in that. There doesn't necessarily have to be like a whole group, but maybe it has to do with a group in general, or some type of cause or something, right? Again, like communicating, having conversations with people, like even maybe creating opportunity, whatever that is. And then we have this putting in the work, showing up, locking in, right? And then this Four of Swords energy of resting. And also too, even just recognizing the importance of rest, not just because you're a second line, not just because you're a fifth line. It could, of course, have to do with your type, like any type, really, because even, generators and manifesting generators can burn out. But especially if you are non-sacral being, right? Because that sacral energy is life force energy. And granted, a lot of people are sacral beings, but again, even they can burn out. I burnt out. Like I'm a manifesting generator. I burnt the hell out of myself. And then I slept for 6 months, pretty much. I haven't needed to do that again, though, you know? But anyway, again, regardless of what type you are, but especially if you are not a sacral being, really prioritize rest. And literally, I mean, rest does not have to be, of course, just like sleeping. It can be, if that's what you need. Absolutely. Like if you need little cat naps, do that, you know? If there's, you know, some sort of disruption with your sleep, whatever that is, like figure that out. Because I mean, really just make sure that you are getting actual rest when you are sleeping. But it could be, again, solitude, separating yourself, focusing on something else, like reading, doing puzzles, some other type of hobby that it takes you out of the flow. It takes you out of like the hustle and the exerting a lot of energy, but it's restful to you. Watching a show, you know, doing crossword puzzles, like, you know, whatever it is, you know, again, it doesn't have to be like, you know, laying prone and just not moving and sleeping, unless of course you need that, but just something to where it gives your mind a break. It gives you a break. And also, I don't know if I was saying this in your reading or in the 2-4 reading, but it's also about, did I say this? You know what? I don't know. If I did, then building confidence. Because it, like, confidence comes, or it's easier accessed when your battery is charged. And that's what happens when you get into that second line energy. Because again, right, we were talking about dancing. You put your left foot in, you take it out. At some point, I think in that whole thing, you put your whole body in and then you come out, right? So yeah, it's recognizing and really getting good at, you know, like that play between when you recognize in your body that you really do need to have some downtime. That's like what this whole reading to me like feels like. And also, like with next year and next full moon, I halfway wonder if, you know, there are going to be things that pick up, starting either in January or whenever the next full moon is, like from when you're reading this. And it could have to do with, you know, of course, communication. This could just be something that happens out of the blue. Not even out of the blue. It's like something that like you have been focusing energy and attention on. Is just like it catches, though. Something happens to where, again, you know, communication happens. Things start moving forward. And there's this play between going and getting and recharging. And how both of them too, like it very, I want to say like important, but that's not the right word. It's like very integral for this Eight of Pentacles. Because I think too, like, you know, we've been conditioned to think that rest is lazy, or that if we rest, we're going to miss an opportunity. But that's just propaganda and capitalism, right? And that's also a lot the majority of people being conditioned to like a more generator or like manifesting generator way of being type of thing. And it's also even being conditioned to not listen to your own body and your own needs. But both of these things is what makes this Eight of Pentacles possible. Like, I kind of love too that like the colors on the cards, like the top of the card that's facing the Eight of Wands is all of these, pinks and oranges and yellows, right? And this is all like sacral, solar plexus, maybe even root too. I know it's like less red and more pink. It could also even be heart because, there's green in here also. I'm going to say root because also like if we held it upside down, right, it's like the chakra colors going up this way. So I'm just going to say root. But over here, right, and regardless if any of those centers are defined for you or not, we all have those chakra centers, right? But it's like divine movement or like divine guidance, or what is the word? Hang on. Inspired direction. There it is. Like with the root center, right? We in human design, we don't make decisions from the root center because it's a pressure center. We feel pressure to take action, or we feel pressure to move in a direction. We let that go through our strategy and authority, and kind of determine if that is the right direction to head in. But I'm just talking chakra centers in general, right? The sacral is about energy and desire and passion, and like sexual energy is in there too, but that's like creation, connection, transmutation even too. The solar plexus is self-esteem, creativity, play, joy, right? So I love that like these colors, just because of how this card is facing, right? It's facing this other card that has all of those colors into it. And then with the Four of Swords, it's kind of more muted. There is some red in here, of course, but also even allowing your root to rest as far as like not moving in a direction, sitting your butt down, literally. Right? But then there's, again, there's blues in here, some green as well. And then on this side of the card, we have the greens, the blues, the darker, violets or indigo could be somewhere in here, but those are like the upper chakras. And it really is, first of all, this is fucking awesome how this even happened. I'm glad that it was even shown to me like that way. I like truly, what are the odds? This is why I love tarot as well. But like, what are the odds that this is how the cards would come out and it would literally fit so fucking perfect? I just love it. But yeah. And even if like you are watching this in 2026 already with this next year card, it could be, of course, going into 2027, of course, depending on when it is that you watch this reading. I can't, that's what the words say, next year, right? But, even like the goodbye 2020, like it could be too, and this just might be us reading too far into it. Us, right? Like, But also, I feel like it wouldn't have been like dropped into my consciousness if it wasn't true. So it's leaving behind a period of time that not necessarily was difficult. I mean, it certainly could have been. Not that 2020 was difficult for every single person, right? It was difficult for a lot of fucking people, but a good number of people didn't have a difficult time, like, through that. But it's like, if there has been a period of difficulty in your life, then there's like a shift happening with that. And even too, it could be because you really hone in on this process for you. Again, the marriage between the need to be out there and then the need to be inside. And recognizing too within yourself when your battery starts to get low, recognizing how fast it recharges or how slow it recharges when you go inside. Also really being aware of not using your energy on things that are not correct for you. So it's also learning the art of saying no. That's not for me. Not out of like, insecurity or whatever, fear, whatever, but because you don't have a interest, or you don't have the expertise, or you don't see yourself solving that thing for somebody, right? It's really being discerning instead of, like people pleasy, or, kind of getting wrapped up in the projections and just being like, I mean, I could, right? Like I could figure it out. Why? Like, why? Why do that? Don't do that to yourself. Especially again, if you go through your strategy and authority and it doesn't feel good, say no, or say not now, or say, it's not the right time for me, or whatever, because also, like, who knows? I mean, the opportunity could swing back around when the energy does better suit you, type of thing, but you don't have to do it just because you're asked, basically. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.